You already know what that means. It doesn't mean good morning. Get money. We getting a good day started with the good curry chicken with the white rice.
The loudest laugh on WildNOut was born in one of Atlanta's toughest neighborhoods. Before he became DC Young Fly, he was John Whitfield, the youngest of 7, using humor to survive the West Side streets that shaped him. After losing his brother in 2011, he tattooed DC between his eyebrows, a permanent tribute and a spark that pushed him towards something bigger. Armed with nothing but a cracked phone and sharp wit, he jumped on Vine, turning 6-second roasts into millions of followers and launching himself into WildNOut, movies, music, and worldwide recognition. This is the rise of a comedian who turned pain into fuel and talent into an empire. And now, let's pull back the curtain on DC Young Fly's extraordinary life. Born on May 2, 1992, in the vibrant yet unforgiving heart of Atlanta, Georgia, John Richard Whitfield entered the world as the youngest of 7, a spot that forced him to speak up just to rise above the household noise. Life on Atlanta's West Side pushed and tested him, the streets ready to swallow dreams as quickly as they offered them. His mother, a devoted middle school teacher, steadied the family with quiet strength, grounding him in resilience and discipline. Growing up in Adamsville and the rough stretches of Zone 3, he lived among poverty and crime that shaped boys into survivors. Yet even in that environment, humor became his refuge, a shield he wore like armor. He earned his place with wit rather than force, stakes to what? His jokes sharp and fearless. Smoothing tension like sunlight, cutting through a storm, laughter wasn't just a talent. It was his way of carving out safety where none was promised. At Benjamin E. Mays High School, his quick tongue made him unforgettable. Teachers tried to tame him, classmates couldn't stop laughing. But beneath the jokes lived a painful truth. In 2011, he lost one of his brothers, a blow that struck him like a sudden collapse of the ground beneath his feet. Instead of dimming his spark, the grief deepened it, giving his humor more weight and urgency. Amid instability, he turned to rap and comedy, 2 creative lifelines that let him express what he couldn't say outright. Nights filled with scribbled lyrics and improvised jokes helped him build a personality too big to be confined to his block. Surviving Zone 3 wasn't easy, but he learned to turn survival into art. DC Young Fly's rise began quietly, just a young man with a phone and an instinct for humor that hit the internet like a spark catching dry grass. His roasting videos spread fast, drawing people in, with a style that felt effortless and real. Fans weren't just entertained, they were hooked by a personality that didn't need studio lights to shine. By 2012, he had already stepped beyond the screen, appearing on Gotham Comedy Live and proving that his raw online energy held up under real stage pressure. His next leap came in 2015 when he joined WildNOut, where he became a standout almost immediately. His quick wit and fearless delivery made him one of the show's most memorable performers, the kind audiences talked about long after the credits rolled. That same year, he teamed up with Carlos Miller and Chico Bean to launch the 85 South Show, a project that blended humor, music, and unfiltered conversation. What began as a podcast evolved into a live comedy force, filling venues across the country with fans who came to laugh and stayed because the trio felt like family. Hollywood noticed quickly. In 2016, DC Young Fly landed roles in #Digital Lives Matter and Almost Christmas, working alongside major names without losing the authenticity that made him stand out. His career expanded from there. Roles in The New Edition Story, BMF, Pretty Stoned, Candy Cane Lane, and later Outlaw Posse and Bosco in 2024 showcased a performer capable of more than comedy. He was adaptable, convincing, and consistently engaging. In 2023 to 2024, he stepped confidently into hosting with Celebrity Squares, proving he could guide a show as easily as he could steal one. His natural charm and ease with people made hosting feel like a natural extension of his talent. And as his career grew, so did industry respect. In 2019, Variety named him one of their 10 comics to watch, a clear acknowledgement that he wasn't just popular, he was shaping the future of comedy. Through every stage of his career, online star, comedian, actor, host, DC Young Fly has remained grounded in the authenticity that first drew people to him. What began with a phone and a voice grew into a career defined by versatility, charisma, and the rare ability to connect with audiences wherever he goes. Getting into his personal life reveals a far gentler side of DC Young Fly, a version of him that feels almost hidden beneath the bright lights of his public persona. Beneath the humor and high-energy performances, his world was shaped by one enduring connection, the love he shared with Jackie O, the woman who stood beside him long before fame felt steady. Their story began in 2015 on the set of WildNOut, but unlike typical celebrity romances, theirs unfolded quietly, growing naturally like two melodies blending into one tune. There was nothing forced or flashy about it. Their bond formed through shared laughter, ambition, and a comfort that made their relationship feel real, not rehearsed. That love deepened as they built a family together. In 2016, their first daughter, Nova, arrived, her birth shifting DC from entertainer to devoted father. 4 years later, Nala joined the family, adding even more light to a home already brimming with joy. And in 2022, their son Prince completed the trio, becoming the final piece of a family that had become DC's pride. Like snapshots frozen in time, his social media often showed tender glimpses, him laughing with the kids, holding them close, celebrating their milestones, moments that revealed just how deeply he cherished being a dad. But in May 2023, the world he guarded so lovingly shattered. Jackie O passed away at just 32, a loss that struck DC like a sudden storm cutting through clear skies. The news reached him while he was filming WildNOut in Atlanta, forcing him to process heartbreak in real time while trying to stay strong for their children. It wasn't just losing a partner, it was losing the woman who knew him beyond the stage, who helped him grow, who stood with him from the beginning. In the aftermath, DC stepped fully into fatherhood, carrying both the weight of grief and the responsibility of raising Nova, Nala, and Prince. His online presence grew quieter, more reflective. He didn't dwell openly on the pain, but the love he had for Jackie and the life they built echoed through every moment he shared with their children. Behind the fame, DC Young Fly's private life is the story of a love that shaped him, a family that grounded him, and a loss that changed him, moving into what makes DC Young Fly the powerhouse he is today. You can't ignore the engine behind his rise, his wealth, built not by chance but through a grind as steady and deliberate as bricks laid by hand. Nothing about his financial climb was accidental. His money grew the same way he did, through grit, creativity, and the instinct to turn every opening into opportunity. His rise began with those lightning-quick Vine roasts, 6-second shots of humor that spread across the internet like sparks catching dry grass. They didn't just make people laugh, they drew in brands and massive audiences, turning his online presence into real revenue. That early digital wave pushed his net worth into the multi-million bracket, with estimates placing him around $2 million and others stretching it between $5 and $10 million. But the true shift came in 2015, when he stepped onto MTV's WildNOut. That stage wasn't just exposure, it was fuel. Every episode increased his value, raising his demand for appearances, tours, and live performances. And with that growing spotlight came the project that would redefine his financial path, the 85 South Show. What began as a simple podcast transformed into a touring phenomenon, sold-out venues, merch flying off tables, brand sponsors lining up, and a fan base loyal enough to follow them anywhere. The show became one of his strongest income engines, proving comedy could move like both culture and commerce when handled right. Then, Hollywood opened its doors. Roles in Almost Christmas, Digital Lives Matter, BMF. The New Edition story and House Party didn't just stack his resume, they stacked his checks. Each project added another layer of financial security, as if he were building a money tower, one role at a time. His ability to jump from humor to acting without missing a beat meant the industry kept hiring and paying. Hosting became another lane altogether. Shows like TRL and Celebrity Squares gave him access to new audiences and bigger paydays. Hosting is high-value territory, and he stepped into it naturally, moving through the role with the ease of someone born for center stage. And then there's the music. Many forget he's also a recording artist, but the royalties from his singles and collaborations add a quieter stream of income, steady and reliable like water flowing beneath the surface. Pair that with millions of social media followers, and he unlocks more revenue through sponsored content, brand partnerships, and ad monetization. His growing reputation amplified it all. In 2019, Variety named him one of their 10 comics to watch, a nod that didn't just boost his credibility, it boosted his earning power. What makes DC Young Fly's wealth compelling isn't the number, it's the blueprint. He built his financial world like an architect raising a skyscraper, one level supporting the next, every income stream reinforcing the structure. From viral videos to television, from movies to nationwide tours, from hosting gigs to music and digital influence, he created a financial ecosystem with no weak link. Now let's step into how DC Young Fly enjoys the rewards of his grind, beginning with his homes, which stand like monuments to just how far determination can carry a man. One of his most unforgettable moves wasn't about luxury, but about loyalty. In 2022, he surprised his mother with a brand new home, capturing her emotional reaction in a video that felt like watching a lifelong prayer finally answered. He called it the dream every kid from the hood carries, lifting your mama into comfort she never had to fight for again. It wasn't just a purchase, it was a promise kept. As his career skyrocketed, his own living spaces evolved with him. Today, DC Young Fly resides in Los Angeles, a city where success and style often walk hand in hand. While the details of his LA home stay private, it's confirmed he lives there and owns several Mercedes-Benz vehicles, fitting for someone whose life now moves with the shine and speed of a fast-rising star. But the home that truly mirrors who he's become sits back in Georgia. A 2025 tour revealed a sleek, modern property, open spaces, clean lines, and a sense of comfort wrapped in accomplishment. Every room feels like it carries a memory, as if the walls themselves remember the kid who climbed from struggle to success. Places like these don't come cheap, but neither does a life built through nonstop hustle. With his net worth estimated anywhere from $2 million to as high as $5 to $10 million, he's in a financial lane where homes like this aren't dreams, they're choices. Up next, we have the garage, a space where you can almost feel the heartbeat of DC Young Fly's journey each time an engine growls to life. His collection isn't built on excess, but on evolution, the kind of lineup that mirrors a man who's grown sharper, faster, and more unstoppable. Like success riding on four wheels, front and center is his Mercedes-Benz fleet, luxury vehicles that fit him the way a perfectly tailored suit fits a king. Among them sits a powerful four-wheel Mercedes SUV, a ride that typically falls between $60,000 and over $130,000, depending on whether it's a GLE, a GLS, or the iconic G-Wagon. Even without the exact model revealed, the simple fact that he owns one shows just how high he's climbed. But the luxury doesn't stop there. DC owns multiple Mercedes-Benz vehicles, filling his garage with that unmistakable silver and black elegance Mercedes is known for. High-end sedans and coupes usually range from $50,000 to $120,000. And in his world, these aren't just purchases. They're milestones, symbols of every step he's fought for. Of course, even success has its shadows. He's dealt with vandalism, shattered windows, stolen items, moments that felt like the universe trying to snatch the keys from his hands. But like a man who's swerved around bigger obstacles in life, he shook it off and kept rolling, turning the setback into just another story of resilience. His garage may not overflow with dozens of exotic machines, but the ones he keeps carry weight. They are steel reflections of his grind, engines powered by laughter, hustle, and struggle turned into momentum. He went from catching any ride he could to choosing cars that match the speed and shine of the life he lives. Now, every Mercedes parked there sits like a trophy, humming with the same confidence he brings on stage. When you look past the homes and the cars, you uncover another layer of DC Young Fly's world, the quieter luxuries he wears and builds, each one hanging off him like an extension of his personality. Big pal, DC doesn't need to boast, his style speaks loud enough. He steps out in designer pieces that fuse street swagger with high fashion, every outfit moving with him like a rhythm he's mastered. One day he might be in a $705 Dior wide brim hat, a $125 Ralph Lauren hoodie, and a $270 Louis Vuitton key pouch, a combination that sits on him as naturally as a punchline. Another day he upgrades the mood with an $895 Louis Vuitton cap, a $2,640 LV backpack, and $500 plus Bally sneakers, transforming a simple walk into something cinematic. Each piece is a small tribute to the climb it took to get here. But DC doesn't just wear luxury, he builds it. His official merch drops, like his $85 tour shirts, turn fans into walking extensions of his brand, blending community with commerce in a way only he can pull off. Behind the scenes, he pushes his hustle even further. He founded Fly Rich Clothing and launched Wealthy Life Records, stepping into entrepreneurship with the same confidence he brings to the mic. These aren't vanity plays, they're long-term moves crafted to turn fame into power. And then there's the shine, the jewelry that flashes in his videos and appearances. Chains and accessories sparkle around him like exclamation points, adding a layer of swagger that feels like part of his storytelling. His money maps even further, stretching into real estate and startup investments, proof that he's thinking far beyond the moment and building toward legacy. The same hunger that made him a star fuels the business decisions shaping his future. Controversy doesn't chase everyone, but it finds the bold, and DC Young Fly learned that firsthand. His biggest clash didn't erupt from a joke, it came from a moment that stuck to him like a thorn after a 2021 taping of the 85 South Show, when Rick Ross abruptly walked off mid-interview with no warning. To DC, it felt less like a scheduling mix-up and more like disrespect. By 2025, that quiet irritation finally ignited. On the Rory and Mal podcast, DC revealed Ross didn't just leave, He left to give a polished interview on what DC called a white podcast, answering questions the 85 South crew avoided out of courtesy. Loyalty, not race, was the wound. Ross fired back from a poolside Instagram story, insisting he came as a favor, left for other obligations, and even joked that wearing a Gucci jacket to the interview was a waste. The shade kept the feud alive. DC hit back hard, reminding Ross that legends like Snoop Dogg, Boozy, T.I., and Busta Rhymes had all appeared on the show for free, and stayed till the end. Respect, he said, goes both ways. Then came the spark that reignited the internet. DC calling out Ross's shifting explanations, including the now infamous 200 wings excuse, exposing contradictions and reviving the drama like gasoline on embers. Through it all, DC stood steady, honest, sharp, and unbothered by the noise. His controversies didn't tarnish him, they revealed him. A man who values loyalty, speaks up when something feels off, and stands tall even when the spotlight turns scorching. And that's DC Young Fly's luxury life. Not borrowed, not gifted, but carved out with grind and grit. His world shines because he built the light. Stick around for more stories like this. Hit like, subscribe, and keep rising with us. Until next time, keep grinding, keep glowing, and keep leveling up.